Today we're going to be taking a look at the Canon EF 50mm prime lens f1.4 USM. We're first going to do an unboxing of this and then take it outside and get some test shots. So let's go over what this name here means. EF is the standard mount for all of their EOS cameras. Today we're going to be using the EOS 70 Mark II. The 50mm is where the zoom is at. So this is not a zoom lens, you're fixed at 50mm. So unlike most lenses that you get in kits and other stuff, you can't really zoom it in at all. You have to like move closer to your subject or move away. So we're going to be talking about why you would ever want that in this video. The main reason why I got this is because of the aperture. It's an f1.4. Now Canon makes an f1.2, which is just 0.2 lower than this, but this lens here is around $360. They make an f1.8, which is also pretty good. That's around $150, I believe. But the f1.2, Canon is the only brand at the time of posting this that I believe makes an f1.2, and it's $1,600, something like that. It is insane if you want to get that. So I'm thinking f1.4 is a happy medium. It's not outrageously priced, and it really does the job very well. Links to all of those are in the description below if you want to check them out. Let's take a peek inside here. On the top is the sort of standard warranty by Canon and other information. It's wrapped in a plastic bag and then in some styrofoam to keep it nice and snug in there. Very snug. There we go. So here is the lens. Very short lens compared to most like kit lenses and other lenses. I love you have your sort of distance where the focus is at. You'll notice it only has this one thing that you can change. That's because there is no other zoom. Overall build quality feels pretty good. This is sort of plasticky. The focus is a little, I don't know if I would call it loose, but it's you can feel that it's a little not quite as high quality as some of the other lenses I have. Let me grab my 17-40. So this is the Canon 17-40mm. For some reason the focus on here just feels much smoother than on the 50mm. I wonder if that's just because it's bigger or something, but it just feels a little jerkier on here, but that should be just fine. This does have autofocus. We're going to be testing that out in our outside review, and then we're going to be testing out the image quality. One of the things that I have not seen too many other people test in an unboxing like this is how it does with the low light situation, because since it is so big, let's take a peek at it. The aperture right now is at 1.4 because you can see it's so wide open. I feel like this is going to be absolutely amazing for stuff at night when there's so little light because it's letting so much in. I feel like it's going to do phenomenal. Let's pop this on our 70 Mark II. One of the things that you may notice is because the 70 Mark II is a crop sensor, this is going to be more like an 85mm, but the actual image quality is still going to be the same. Let me see if I can close the aperture at all here. So you can adjust the aperture and it'll make it larger like that. So that's f1.4 right there, if you can kind of see in there. And then as you close it, you see that little ring comes around and then makes it so now the smallest it can go is f22. So that's an f22 right there. We're going to be testing out how that changes the image, how blurry the background is, and all that stuff. Before we go outside and do those test shots, let me test out the autofocus, see how loud it is, if it's a distraction at all if you're taking video. So you can definitely hear it there. It's not silent, but it does sound reasonably quiet, so you won't notice it too much if you're just focusing on tiny movements and not moving the whole thing in and out. Now let's go outside and get some test shots. Alright, so now we're outside with the Canon 50mm 1.4 prime lens. We're going to be taking some shots here of the vegetable garden and then heading over to the flower garden and testing out the image quality and all the different aspects of this lens. Just from the couple of test shots that I did here, I can tell that the focus is very fast and very accurate, and also quite quiet, so you're not going to disturb any of the animals or bugs that may be living here if you're trying to take a photo of them. From a couple of the photos that I took, I can see when you're shooting with 1.4 in this bright daylight, it tends to get overexposed, so you want to increase your shutter speed so you're not getting that overexposed look. I kind of almost want to say that when we're at 1.4, the depth of field is so shallow, you can't even tell what's just a couple inches behind it. I think we're going to bump the aperture up to like 2.0. That's still a very, very wide open aperture, but I think we're going to get a little more in focus, the background in focus, and then the depth of field is going to be a little bit bigger. Let's see if that looks more natural. For just a comparison, why don't I bump it up to something like f22, and then let's see how that compares. What I think is going to happen is basically the entire photo is going to be in focus. I'm not sure, since this is a prime lens, what it's quite going to do, but if I were to assume, I would assume that the entire frame is going to be in focus. Yep, after just reviewing them on the screen here, it does look like they are basically all in focus. Let's head on over to the flower garden and get some more awesome shots with this awesome lens. Let's go. Alright, so now we're in the flower garden. I'm sorry that the fountain is going. I don't really have control over that. Hopefully with the lapel mic you can hear my voice a little better, but we're going to test out the video features of this lens here. To do that, we're just kind of going to hand hold it. This does not have image stabilization, so we're going to see if this is like too jerky or something to not be handheld. We're also going to test out the manual focus, and yeah, let's just see how it works. Alright, so from my test here, it looks like the autofocus does work pretty well, but on items like these flowers where they're quite small, it wasn't able to pick it up very quickly. Manual focus works very well. Image quality looks fine from on here. The only thing that I had a little challenge with is that this focus turning thing is not terribly smooth. I'm not really sure why it's not so smooth, but overall, this is an awesome, awesome lens. We're going to have to wait till we go inside the studio and check out these photos and video on the big screen. I'll see you then. Alright, so we're back inside now. One of the things that I didn't get to do outside because it's too bright is test the real low light performance on this lens, because it is an f1.4. So basically to do that, we're just going to shut off all the lights in here except for the lights that are going, the LEDs around the perimeter, and see if that's enough light to make photos that are not terribly grainy. Alright, so this camera is compensating quite a bit for the darkness, but it is very dark in here. We're going to be taking pictures of lenses, of course, because that's what you gotta do when you're doing a lens review. So we're going to be, good thing that there's this the light thing. Good thing that we have that, so I can see what we're at. So we're going to be shooting at 1.4. Frame rate is probably going to be at 1/100th of a second. We may have to go lower if we need to, but let's see if we can actually take a decent photo in this kind of lighting. Alright, I'll put up the photos here. They are a little bit grainy, and it's somewhat difficult to find focus at 1.4 when it is this dark. I was just using the autofocus. I do know that the 70 Mark II has a very good high ISO for being a crop sensor camera, but really these photos are not too bad for there being this little of light. Would you actually use this in a normal situation? It's good to be able to have a photo that is visible. You can see what's going on in the photo. Say you're at some sort of a wedding and it's at night and you don't have a flash or something. It's good to have a lens like this that is wide open so you can get as much light coming in as possible. The other thing that we can do here is, well, you could definitely have a flash. That would help. But one thing that we may want to try is just having the frame rate be something like 1/25th of a second. We probably need a tripod. I'm going to see if I can just hand hold that. Alright, so at 1/25th of a second, just hand holding it, there's really no blurriness. I was holding it pretty steady, and the actual brightness of the photo is very, very bright for being this dark in the room. So I am very impressed with this lens. Definitely check it out in the links below. Definitely recommend the 1.4. The 1.8 I hear is a little cheaper than the 1.4. Definitely the price is about $100 less, but the overall build quality is cheaper. But still, I would recommend you have one of these because it is very important. I should probably turn the lights back on so you can see me. Alright, so that is the review of the Canon 50mm 1.4 lens. If I missed anything, feel free to leave it down below. Oh, and check out my other lens reviews. We have a bunch of lenses here that I have either done reviews of or I'm in the process of doing a review of. Thank you for watching.